Podcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to WordStream's September webinar, How to Get an A+ in PPC, Using Lessons Learned in 2019 to Ace Google Ads in 2020. My name is Maggie, and I'm here to kick things off before passing it off to our experts. I also want to remind everyone that you had homework. If you didn't have a chance to run our free Google Ads grader before this session, click the link in the chat box, which I am putting up right now. You can click that link in the chat box to get a full report card of your Google Ads account completely free, and it only takes 60 seconds. Before we get started, I wanted to tell you all a little bit about WordStream. You might know us from all of our free tools, our awesome content, or our amazing blog. We are premier partners of Google, Bing, and Facebook, and we offer a software here at WordStream called WordStream Advisor, which helps businesses succeed in the landscape of online advertising all in one place. WordStream Advisor makes online advertising with Google, Bing, and Facebook super simple. It helps to increase your ROI, gives you custom reports, and provides you with tons of features to save you time by simplifying your online advertising efforts. If you want to know more about how we can help you, definitely head to our website. As you get familiar with WordStream, connect with us. Find us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. You can learn, interact with WordStream customers, and see our awesome content. One last logistic slides before I pass this off. This webinar is being recorded and you will be emailed the recording along with the slides within 48 hours after we end today's session. Also, please submit your questions throughout the webinar. We want this to be as beneficial as possible, so submit any questions that you have, and we will do our best to get to as many as we can at the end. Without further ado, I will pass things off to our presenters, Conor and Lauren.
Hi guys, sorry, I was muted. Happy Wednesday, everyone. My name is Lauren. I'm on the customer success team here at WordStream, which basically is a fancy way of saying I work with a lot of clients from various different verticals and industries on how do we optimize, how do we reduce wasted spend, and then everyone's favorite question, how do we reduce that CPA and get you more conversions? So that is kind of where I come in. I work with people on Bing, Google, Facebook, but overall just conversions, kind of how can we pump that up for all of our clients, and known best for dad jokes, bad jokes, and bad dad jokes. So buckle up. I hope you guys brought your seatbelts. If you didn't, maybe get a cup of coffee, then we'll be on the same level. But excited to be here today with my colleague Conor, and I will pass it off to him to introduce himself as well.
Thank you, Lauren. As she said, my name is Conor. I'm a content marketer here at WordStream. I write blog posts, white papers, video scripts. I host webinars like this one, and I'm currently on an AC/DC kick that came straight out of the blue. It would be weird enough to be on an AC/DC kick in 2019. It's especially weird because I never really liked AC/DC before, but September we're just playing Back in Black over and over and over again. Before we get into the agenda for today's presentation, we want to warm up the audience a little bit with a quick question. So when you are building a new ad group in a Google Ads search campaign, how many keywords would you say on average you put in that ad group? Is it 1 to 5, 6 to 10, 11 to 15, God forbid 16 or more? So there should be a poll on your screen right now, and or whenever it's up there, just give us an answer if you can give a quick estimate, and that'll be sort of pertinent to the content that we discussed today. But while we're getting the poll set up, we'll move on to the agenda for today's presentation. So for those of you who don't know, or maybe who don't remember, today's presentation is sort of a back to school theme. So Lauren and I will be talking about the 5 biggest lessons we learned about PPC marketing this year. The first 4 lessons are about Google Ads, and the last one is about Facebook ads. So I will be talking about budget allocation and copywriting, and Lauren will be talking about keyword strategy and audience targeting. I have been informed that the poll functionality just isn't working, so sorry about that. Hopefully your answer was somewhere in the range of 6 to 10 keywords, because that's typically best practice. 11 to 15, you're also good. But anyway, we'll get into the first area of today's discussion, which is budget allocation. So the biggest lesson that I learned about Google Ads budget allocation in 2019 is that search isn't purely a bottom of funnel channel. In other words, I think your paid search campaigns can be used for a little bit more than simply driving conversions. But that's not what you're often told, is it? The conventional wisdom is that you should use Facebook and the Google Display Network if you want to reach top of funnel prospects and build brand awareness. At the same time, the conventional wisdom also tells us that you should use paid search with Google and Bing when you want to reach bottom of funnel prospects and drive conversions. This conventional approach is not a bad approach by any means, and in fact, I think it's actually pretty good. I think if you use Facebook and the GDN to build brand awareness and paid search to drive conversions, you'll see some pretty good results. I think you'll be in good shape. However, this conventional approach, although not bad at all, I think it's based on a limited mindset, and it's a mindset that I think keeps you from capitalizing on some pretty great, pretty valuable opportunities. Now, what makes me say that? Well, over here in the real world, outside the realm of the conventional wisdom, we can see that people are constantly using Google and Bing to search for products and services well before they're ready to convert. If you ask me, each one of these search queries up here on the screen, these are top of funnel. These aren't people who are looking to buy music lessons or buy car insurance. Instead, they're simply looking to learn more about the options that are available to them in the market that they're sort of interested in or where they may need a solution. So why am I telling you this? Well, every time one of your prospects uses Google or Bing to learn more about your marketplace, you have a golden opportunity to give them some helpful information and to make a really positive impression. Every search query is an opportunity, and a click that doesn't convert is not a wasted click. When the time comes for one of your prospects to make a purchase, the decision will, it'll be partially based on rationality. There will be some logic in there, but that purchase decision, it'll also be based on some emotion. And it sounds obvious, but I think it warrants some emphasis. People like to buy things, whether you're a B2C advertiser or a B2B advertiser. People like to buy things from companies that they associate with positive feelings. And if you make the effort to educate your prospects when they're at the top of your funnel, it will pay dividends down the line when they have to make a purchase decision. Plus, an even more practical benefit of advertising to top of funnel prospects is that it allows you to expand your remarketing pool. As you drive more and more relevant traffic to your website, you'll have more and more opportunities down the line to retarget those past site visitors across awesome platforms like Facebook and the GDN. Just one word of caution, if you do heed my advice and maybe set aside some budget for an awareness campaign or two on the search network, just keep an extra close eye on your cost per click because top of funnel keywords can get pretty expensive. There's a lot of competition. There are a lot of marketers out there who think broad keywords are the only keywords. Poor souls haven't heard about long tail yet. So just make sure you're not burning through your budget or anything. But generally, I think your homework assignment when it comes to budget allocation in 2020, set aside some budget for an awareness campaign on the search network, try to educate your prospects and build out those remarketing pools. Now, to be clear, I want to make something really clear before I pass things off to Lauren. When I say set aside some budget, by no means am I saying you should dedicate as much budget to an awareness campaign as you would to a middle or bottom of funnel campaign. As awesome and as valuable as brand awareness is, it does not keep the lights on. I recognize that. You need to drive those conversions. So for sure, the lion's share of your search network budget should go towards those low funnel campaigns, drive those conversions. All I'm saying is consider setting aside just a little bit of budget. Take your overall search budget, just set aside a little bit, target some top of funnel keywords that signify some clear intent, that aren't too expensive, got some volume, drive that relevant traffic, and make those valuable impressions and give yourself some more opportunities to remarket. I think it's a small, considering how much value I think it'll drive for you, it's a small tweak. And with that, I'll pass things off to Lauren for her first for the first lesson she learned this year in Google Ads.
Thanks, Connor. Let me just recognize that Connor's the bad teacher who gives you homework, and I won't give you guys any homework because I love you. Just kidding. You're going to have homework for me too. So keywords. I feel like keywords in 2019, they got their nails did, they got their hair done, and they're going to come back into 2020 and be like, new keywords, who dis? So before I kind of drag you guys through what I learned in 2019 and how we're going to carry that into 2020 to truly be the champions of PPC, I want to take a little stroll down memory lane here. And we're going to evaluate, yes, I will click for myself because I'm a peasant. So here we go. Evolution of the keyword and their bountiful variants. So let's go all the way back. I have a couple clients and they're like, Lauren, you have no idea how long I've been in PPC. I don't know why I just made them from New Jersey, but now they are. So 2000, when Google AdWords stepped on the scene, let me remind you guys that we had a broad, a phrase, and an exact match type. That is it. There were no negative keywords, no quality scores, no ad extensions. Oh my gosh, just everyone was living in this very blissful world. Well, 2010 rolled around. I understand that this looks like a multiplication sign because I put it on a slant, so sorry y'all. But it is a plus sign because that's when Modified Broad stepped on the scene and was like, what's up, y'all? Still didn't have call only, no negative keywords. So how did we survive? My word, what a time. And then finally, negative keywords were finally introduced, saving all of our queries from the depths of the irrelevance that we were being submit to. 2014 introduced the first Google close variant rule. This included strictly misspellings and plurals. Gosh, what a simple time. I could hear Andy Griffith whistling in the background. This is crazy. So then fast forward even more, 2017, close variants were set to include reordering of words for exact matches as well as searches that included articles and prepositions. And then 2000, oh gosh, he's got it covering here. I want to make sure that I have this all correct. Bear with me, technical difficulties, y'all. Close variants are set to also include words of a similar meaning of the keyword that is being bid on. So how did we react to this change? We were like, hey, Google, here's some money. Figure it out, please, because I'm dying. So then came, after all of this mess, we're still trying to figure out, then came the Great Rebrand of 2019. Let's get a woo-woo for everyone who loved that. Absolutely nothing, exactly. So they changed their brand, they changed their interface. I cannot tell you how many clients I got in this time period that were like, Lauren, I joined WordStream because your interface is easy to use. And I was like, praise. So they did the whole rebrand, but how did actually all of these changes that just took place, how did they impact people? Well, lucky for you guys, lucky for me as well, because it's a lot of work to do this. We had a couple of our content managers, Alan Finn and one other gentleman who actually did the research for us, which is absolutely fantastic. I am trying to click on the slide. Oh, he showed all my goodies. All right, that's okay. Previously, keywords meant that a search query obviously was a literal doppelganger or a close variant. And then we determined that through Alan's research, there were 1 million impressions tied to exact match keywords in the accounts that they analyzed. 36 were for keywords that, for all intents and purposes, have been rendered irrelevant. Consequently, that means 36 of these exact match keywords are now competing in the same auction for the same impressions. Oh my gosh. So we've done all this work. We just went through the timeline. We have had to revamp our keywords, revamp our strategy for all these different variants, all these different changes, but it doesn't stop here. So truthfully, to get down to the meat of what I have learned in 2019 was the biggest change that Google announced here recently. And it was on those most recent close variant changes, saying that they will interchange words that have a contextually similar meaning. Let's just take a minute. Everyone breathe. That's how I feel about that. So broad match modifier, take a look at this one. If you are bidding on the word lawn mowing service on modified broad. I mean, this is very, very simple. It could be in any order. There could be additional words sprinkled in any form that they require, but maintains the keywords that are at the root. And edging service, match query, have all these keywords. Now they're all, with PPC, what I have learned a lot in the past year, especially with this change, is that less is more. Different variants of every single lawn mowing service and your account. Now that there's so much interchangeability, less is 100% learned. Like, she's one of the, I don't know who she is, look her up, she's fantastic. She's one of my colleagues here at WordStream, and she was talking to me about this. Started to pursue, instead of pursuing lawn moves, something along the lines of grass cutting and so with all of these changes, a lesson that I truly learned, and just to recap everything within this category, they have a smaller budget. They can't pursue 100 keywords. You have to keep in mind that when you have a smaller budget, you have to stay focused. A great rule of thumb is to be able to fit 10 clicks into your daily budget. If you could do that, awesome, you're on the right track. Within that campaign, I want to see a very laser focused amount of keywords, a laser focused theme on what you want for the meat of your business. So this is great for local advertisers, because if I am a lawn mowing service, I really only have to bid on that keyword, maybe something that relates to, another service that you may offer, leaf cleanup or leaves. Jury's still out. Whatever other service that you may have available, but ultimately, I want you to keep your themes very, very tailored within a very small keyword set. Now, on the flippity flip side of that, it is not ideal for branded campaigns. As you can imagine, we have written multiple pieces of content on this new change just to make sure that everyone is ready to go and geared up. Whenever you have a branded campaign, Mark Irvine, our senior data scientist, he used an example of the Copley Hotel. We're based out of Boston, Mass, and so he explained how if you are bidding on the literal name of the hotel, which I'm sure they are for branded purposes, they're bidding on the keyword, probably on exact, Copley Hotel, Boston, Mass. So as a branded keyword, with the new change in the exact match close variant rule, that could also populate for hotel in Copley, Boston, Mass, which is also applicable. So keep your keywords super duper tight. I'm about to show you guys an example of kind of bidding on that close variant rather than the root word, which I found a lot of success in with a lot of my clients. It's just a great way to reduce costs. So I'm going to pop that up here. Sorry, I'm kind of like all over the board, guys. Lesson we learned. This is the longest lesson of the day, I promise. Sometimes the cheapest keyword is the variant, and negatives are more important than ever before to make sure that we're not cross-pollinating within our account. So let me just explain that real quick, because this is like a difficult concept for people to grasp. So let's say that you have the word lawn mowing services in your right hand, and that's a modified broad, and then in your left hand, you have the word grass cutting services from that example that we just looked at. Because Google is now interchanging the definition or what the contextual similarities of those words are, every time that your right hand bids up, your left hand will as well, because you're bidding on both of those keywords and they're both being used interchangeably. So what does that mean for you? It means you're going to see inflated cost per clicks, which is all going to trickle down to your CPA. So I want you guys to really think hard about your keywords. I saw another article talking about this, and they said, take your bulk keywords, write out every single iteration, like switch around the keywords as much as possible. If any of those don't make sense, go ahead and make those an exact match negative, just to make sure that you're not showing up for anything that could potentially be hazardous to your costs. So here's kind of what I was chatting about earlier. Oh, sorry, the bucket is in front of our doodad. You guys can't see that. Cool. So here's the example, like I was chatting about earlier. So something that Nava Hopkins started doing, and she kind of introduced me to it, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. So as we can see here, and this is through the query stream within WordStream. So one of my favorite features, honestly, the 20-minute work week is great. Yes, saves time and money, but the query stream is really where you get to the meat of what's going on in your account. So what I'm utilizing here, these are all the live queries that came through. And as you can note at the, directionally challenged left-hand side there, it says target keyword dog trainers near me. I was actually able to filter my keywords and queries just by that target keyword to see kind of what I was paying for. In this example, in the match by column, again, query stream, love it. You could see that we actually tell you when you're being matched to a close variant. As you could see time and again in this specific keyword, that close variant actually came in at a lower cost per click, which allows for more clicks, which ultimately allows more conversions. So it all kind of trickles down. So in this, I want you guys to be very strategic in your query analysis. If you identify that you're bidding on dog trainers near me, but dog school near me continuously converts at a cheaper rate, go ahead and eliminate dog trainers near me and start bidding on that variant instead, because ultimately now they're all interchangeable. So why not go for the cheapest cost per click possible? Sorry, I did give you guys homework. Homework. Conor almost like turned his on. I was like, no. So homework, yes, I'm also the bad teacher. So analyze your queries to identify the keywords that are giving you the most bang for your buck. Bid on those, stop bidding on your root keywords. Seriously, you will be so surprised. A lot of people have a misconception, and this is all based on, years and years of Google telling us the exact opposite. I have clients that have segmented out like lawyers near me and attorneys near me in ad groups, and that was 100% advisable. You wanted to make sure that the verbiage carried through the keyword, to the ad, to the landing pages, all super cohesive, impacted quality scores super positively. Unfortunately, that's not the case anymore. So identify the variant or the type of that keyword that is the cheapest cost per click, that gets the most conversions, and really focus in on that. Less is more. I cannot say this enough. Eliminate your close variants as much as possible so you don't bid up your own cost per clicks and cost per acquisitions. And fun fact, exact match negatives haven't changed yet. I don't know. That's not like a rumor. I just started a rumor. I feel very cool. Use this to your advantage to avoid keyword cross-pollination and a saturated branded strategy. So for that branded example that I gave you, I would, in that case, for the Copley Hotel, Boston, Mass, I would go ahead and add the other iterations that aren't as relevant as exact match negatives, just to make sure that we are preserving that campaign budget and credit for the right peeps. Off to you, Connor.
Thank you, Lauren. I know that I remember, whatever it was, a month or two ago when the phrase match and broad match modifier news came out, and it was WordStream HQ was in a tizzy for about a week. But I'm glad that you were here to kind of make sense of it all for us. And I'm going to move on now to copywriting. And the biggest lesson that I learned about copywriting this year is that it's all too easy to blend in to the search results. Here is a prime example of what I'm talking about. You can see here on the left, we have the search query financial planner, and we'll also see the top 4 paid search results for each search query for that query financial planner. And I don't want to be totally negative. I don't want to totally rag on these advertisers. So let's first acknowledge what they're doing right. And I would argue that each of these ads is very well keyword targeted, which leads to, as we know, a very high quality score and top tier ad ranks. It's no accident that these are the advertisers we're seeing at the top of the SERP. They clearly have a strong grasp of Google best practices. They know, what factors into quality score and how quality score ultimately affects your position on the SERP. So that's great. However, that's pretty much the only positive thing I can say about any of these ads. And my main problem with them is that none of them give users a reason to click. They're all equally boring. If I were the one looking for a financial planner or looking to learn more about financial planning, personally, I would scroll right past all these ads and see if the organic search results can offer anything more compelling or valuable. And here's the question that I want all of you to sort of chew on as you're, wrapping up 2019 and thinking about 2020. If you're not offering something uniquely compelling, if your ad isn't putting forward anything that's valuable in a way that nobody else is offering, if you're not offering something that stands out from the other advertisers on the SERP, why would anybody click on your ad? If clicking on somebody else's ad would ostensibly deliver the same exact thing, why click on your ad? There's really no reason. And I think these 4 ads here are all guilty of that. But again, great keyword targeting. Now let's look at some examples of what I think you should do. This time on the left, we have the search query oil change, and we see 2 ads here, one from Valvoline and one from Jiffy Lube. And both advertisers here, they're using their headline copy to really give users a reason to click. In this case, both advertisers are using coupons, discounted prices as the main attraction. And, coupons and discounts, those are great, but not by a long shot are they your only options. I think you can also give users a reason to click by highlighting your core value proposition. I think you can give users a reason to click by calling out a specific benefit of your product or service. The list goes on. As long as you're doing something unique to create value, to put forward a promise of value, I think you'll drive a lot more traffic. I think you'll stand out a lot more among your competitors in the search results, and you'll drive that relevant traffic that you need to bring people into your funnel. Just to zero in a little bit more on these ads, we can see that Valvoline, not so much with the keyword targeting. They were mostly focused on the value there, but they still won the top ad position. Jiffy Lube, a little bit more. They got oil change there in the second headline, so they targeted their main keyword. But again, that's not the main focus. Of course, we recognize the importance of keyword targeting, but that shouldn't be the end-all, be-all of copywriting for Google Ads. And I have a few more examples for good measure. This time we have the search query, sell your old video games. We have an ad from tradegamesin.com. And right away, what I love about this ad, in the first headline, you have a great call out of a specific benefit. Get paid within 24 hours. And then the second headline, we basically have a call to action that it's a clever use of a call to action to target the main keyword, but it's not the focus. And targeting that keyword doesn't keep tradegamesin.com from emphasizing the value, the benefit of the service that they offer. Again, this is just a simple way to give users a reason to click, to just take that extra step. And 2 more for good measure. Search query used college textbooks. We have an ad from textbooks.com and one from cheapesttextbook.com. In the first ad, first headline is just targeting the keyword. We love that. Second headline, free shipping on orders over $25. So discounted price, great way to promise value to give users a reason to click. Second one, less keyword targeting. We see in the first headline, the value is 95% off, market rate. Second headline, hey, it's easy to use our tool or our search engine or whatever. So I think what all of these examples I've shown after those first 4 bad examples, what they go to show is that, yes, you can target your keyword in your headline, you should, but it shouldn't get in the way of being unique, being compelling. So your homework when you're writing your headline copy and your ad copy in general to wrap up 2019 going into 2020, yes, target your main keyword. Yes, get your quality score up. Try to rank as highly as you can in the paid results, but don't let that get in the way of you giving users a reason to click. You don't want to be like those financial planners who have the most boring ads in America. You want to stand out, because otherwise, if you're not standing out, if you're not driving traffic from the paid results, why would you use Google Ads anyway in the first place? With that, I'll send it back to Lauren.
Such good stuff. I think my favorite question to ask when I hop on a new client call is, who are your competitors and why would I go to you over them? And it really gets people kind of thinking about what is it that is, some people have never thought about that, as crazy as that sounds, but very cool to kind of, and it also like helps them get passionate about their business, which I love more than anything. Awesome. So audience targeting. So super duper exciting. No, we're not going to, well, we will kind of talk about display, but no, we're not going to talk about display, because what really came in 2019 that really got me psyched was audience targeting applied to search campaigns. Ooh. So let's chat a little bit about this. So now that keywords are losing a tiny bit of their gusto, I think that's like they're still extremely valuable, but a little bit of their gusto is kind of dwindling away. How do we make sure that our ads are being seen by the right people still? So the importance of audiences. You're a tough audience. Now more than ever, our keywords can literally match to just about anything. So this allows us to resonate better with your audience, with your audience. And then we're going to further than the quantity with traditional search. I know it's killer, but also I will talk about Mark Irvine all the time. But he did a study about targeting in-market audiences when you layer them onto your search campaigns. Here is what happens. 160% they're more likely to click through to your site. If that doesn't convince you, I don't know what will, and I think I need to resign. They also have a higher chance of converting. Think about it. If you are targeting people who are already in market for auto insurance, and your ad copy, instead of being like, Amica Auto Insurance, the best in town, it says, are you still looking for the best insurance? Because we'll give you, a free quote in minutes. Like, that is going to resonate way better with your audience, just like Conor was talking about, creating that value up front. It is so much easier to create value if you know who you're serving your ads to, and this gives you the ability to do that. Also, no additional costs at all. In fact, you're negating a lot of irrelevant wasted spend by not showing to people who are not in market, not looking for your product. And you can refine your targeting to reduce your cost per acquisition. So overall cost just plummeting. So as you can see here, super impressive metrics. And I've seen this work firsthand with one of my favorite clients. I have a lot of clients, oh, I can't say that, no. Then he'll know that he's my favorite and everyone else. Anyways, so insurance, obviously like a very expensive industry. So I pulled together a little example. Hopefully that's the, oh, sorry, let me answer this more important question first. What audiences can we layer? So remarketing, this is a huge, huge, huge one. Larry Kim, our founder, did a study on this a while back, and he saw that he took his normal bread and butter search campaign, and then he layered on a separate campaign identical to it, he layered on a remarketing audience and saw a lower CPA by 33%. So huge. Remarketing always recommended. Similar audiences, this is kind of a hit and a miss. I've seen some success here, but not as much as I have seen with our demographic targeting as well as our in-market. So in-market is really what gets me pumped up. So this is based on behavioral search history. Here's the thing, guys. It's important for us to recognize that the times are changing. Google is putting a lot of different resources into their AI and their machine learning and all these really cool buzzwords. And let's use it, because they're literally putting people into buckets for us based on what people are searching for. I would hate to see what kind of buckets I'm in because I search for really weird stuff all day. But think about it. They have this captive audience. They have these people in buckets. So why aren't we taking advantage of it? So let me show you guys a quick example. So like I said, insurance is a huge industry. It's very, very, very expensive. So what we did, we were trying to test out ways to get our CPA down altogether. So one thing I learned was the impact, the overall impact of these audiences and how they could change these businesses and how they fluctuate with costs and all those expenses. So what we did, we took an exact replica of our normal Florida and then our Florida auto insurance campaigns. And instead of just leaving them just keywords, we added on a layer of in-market audience targeting. Whoa. Let that simmer. So basically what this means is that someone, let's say Connor. Connor's a cool guy. He's got a car, right? Nope, doesn't have a car. It's fine. He wants car insurance. Whatever. Let him do what he wants. So Connor has a car and he needs car insurance. So he searches for car insurance. So that's where everyone's like throwing their money. All these different competitors, you know, Amica, Liberty Mutual, everyone is in that auction. But me, smart advertiser, I'm bidding on the word car insurance, but I'm only showing it to people who have searched for car insurance in the past. See, Connor's a smart guy. He's a shopper. He likes to shop around. He wants to get the best price. So now I'm showing my ad strictly tailored to people who have a history of not only searching for car insurance, but are now very interested at this very second. And if that isn't impactful, I don't know what is. So when doing this, we saw at the start at kind of the bread and butter campaign, we saw an average cost per click of $5.88. We saw a CPA of $12.20. I'm sorry, this is on the new stuff. On the new stuff with the in-market audience, $5.88, $12.20. On the traditional search campaigns, no audience layered, we saw an average cost per click of $4.77 and a CPA of $20.78. That's a 42% decrease in CPA. I did a mic drop and I realized that you guys don't have your cameras on, you can't see me, so fun stuff. A 42% decrease in CPA. So I know a lot of you guys are probably going like, oh, but the cost per click was a lot less. The cost per click was less, but do you understand how many irrelevant searches came through to charge you that cost per click? And that is what is fluctuating your CPA so much. So with a 42% decrease in CPA, we were able to kill his goals, and I have officially fallen in love with using audiences on traditional search campaigns. So lesson we learned, keywords are crucial. They are, please do not misinterpret what I'm saying, but they are absolutely not everything. So homework, use audiences in this climate where keywords are truly losing control. No one wants to admit it. I feel like we should take a moment of silence for our keywords, but really think creatively. The cool part is that a lot of you guys probably have hypotheses of who are your audiences, what are they interested in, you know? There's a lot of cool opportunities. I'm getting married in November, so I've been doing a lot of searches, and it's very cool to think about all of these different audiences that I could actually be put in just based on my search history. So take advantage of that, guys. I'm excited to see what you throw as far as an ad in my way. So to wrap up the homework, audiences are great for targeting and excluding. Take advantage of this as well. If there is absolutely something that you're like, you know what, if they're interested in home insurance, but this is my auto campaign, maybe exclude them altogether. You know, experiment. Every single thing that you do will impact your account in some way. My one word of caution, I tell all my clients this, they never listen. Whenever you do a big change, Google goes into what they call a learning period, which requires 30 to 45 days for it to re-regulate, to get back on its feet, to get its sea legs, all that good stuff. Give it time until you analyze the data and make a decision of, hey, that worked, or hey, that didn't. Another thing, if you do have a hypothesis of who you want to kind of target, start in observation mode. It's a super safe way to do it. That means you're going to show to everyone with that keyword, but you're collecting data on these people that have been shown to have a behavioral search history in a specific topic. And then monitor your CPA closely. I know you guys probably already do this already, but I just like to remind you that is truly your KPI. A lot of people want to focus in on quality score. Yes, it can help, it can hurt, it can do a lot of things, but your CPA is really kind of your bread and butter. So focus on that CPA, focus on your conversions. You guys thought I was passing it back to Conor, didn't you? So audience targeting, taking that just a little bit further. So What is cool is that Facebook, I'm going to go on to our next slide here. Facebook is still the queen of targeting. Let's just be absolutely real and transparent. It just is. It has every option from A to Z. I could target someone who loves squirrels. Not saying that I would, but like over kind of details. We can do it based on demographics, interests, behaviors, connection, remit. This is a big but. With Google, Sunday football can that we are showing that mean. How do I present wasted perfect image and interest and at least something else? The smaller the pool of people we get, the more tailored in our ad copy we can be. Like Conor was talking about, if we know who our audience is, if we know what they're looking for, we should really spell it out for them in our ad copy to make sure that it captures their attention. So layer, layer, layer. So I took this example of a location target. If you're interested in dogs and you're recently moved, you're probably going to need some cool new, decor for your new apartment, your new home. So this would be the perfect ad. But layer, 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 and get super specific with your content. So once you have figured out that perfect targeting, I believe it wasn't Mark. Sorry, Mark. Sprout Social, I was reading their article and they were talking about kind of what makes the best ad. So they did kind of not a poll, they did like data analysis, and they found that the most engaging social ad content, according to the consumers, were A, it entertains me, it offers a discount, or teaches me something. So I want you guys to take this like right back home. You're probably sitting at home. Take it right now to your desk, wherever you are, and apply this. Create entertaining content that engages your users or teaches them something. And everyone loves a discount, so like throw that in too, you know what I mean? And then last but not least, because I don't want to go on and on, which I definitely could. Don't be afraid to kill the monster. So another article that I read by Larry Kim, our founder, he talks about how Facebook is an ever-changing landscape, and what works today may not work tomorrow. And honestly, you have the data to do that because the frequency of your ads that are showing is so exorbitant. So don't be afraid. If you see an ad set that is absolutely killing it, and you have another ad set in that same campaign, especially with the new campaign budget rules, do not be afraid to kill that ad set and try to come up with something else. That's kind of the beauty. I'm like tearing up. That's kind of the beauty of PPC, is that nothing is ever set in stone. You can change something tomorrow and it could take off like crazy. Don't be afraid to test. Don't be afraid to kill the monster. So how do we get the most bang for our buck in this ever-changing landscape? So there's this very, very, very cool portion of Facebook Ad Native, and it's called Audience Insights. So if you see an ad set that is just taken off, you're like, I am killing it, you can actually evaluate this and see what is most common in your user base, what is most common in your clientele. This will give you more insight as to how to word your ad copy, how to be entertaining. All of this will fuel your ad copy and your ad creative going forward so that you could resonate with them even more and try to earn more and more of their business. And then after you have that perfect audience, this is the time that is absolutely optimal for you to use that similar audience. Once you have this, let Facebook do the work, but keep an eye on your metrics at the same time. Now, with all this being said, Facebook made some really exciting changes on the e-commerce front, which has made it even more a viable platform for our e-commerce folk, our people who are looking for actual real live sales, not just leads and calls. So they expanded to include our dynamic product ads. These are huge, and I cannot tell you how many times I've fallen victim to these. I am as broke as a joke because of these stupid ads. You are able to not only customize your audience, you could customize your location targeting, you could customize what products are actually seen. So all you have to do is upload your product feed to Facebook, and it will create this awesome carousel of your products, and it will customize them based on your audience specifications. Wow. The crowd goes wild. So use these ad types. Basically, all in all, this was kind of like a mismangled section for you guys. Sorry about that. There's just a lot about Facebook that excites me. But route that I want you guys to take over into 2020. Make sure that your audiences are tailored and layered. Make sure that your content is tailored and layered to those audiences. And if you are in the e-commerce space, please, please, please test out with these new ad types because they will prove super valuable to your bottom line. So lesson we learned, yes, Lauren, that was so much. Social can drive sales with the right content and targeting, and I truly believe that in my heart. But I'm going to pass it back over to our moderator. I appreciate you guys listening to me yammer on for 40 minutes now.
Thank you guys so much. That was tons of awesome information that hopefully everybody was able to digest. Before we get to questions, we do want you to know that if you're interested in speaking with one of our PPC experts about your account, please take us up on this offer that will be on your screen. So please take us up on this offer by hitting yes. This call is completely free and one of our experts will do an individualized account analysis. If you're interested, definitely click on the offer here on your screen. While you guys answer that, we're going to jump into some questions. There were lots of questions from people about Google's exact match and close variant change and all of that. So those were definitely flowing in. So a couple of them we're talking about, if you start bidding on the exact match variants, would that then start bidding for your root keyword as well? And then there's another sort of similar one saying, you use the example of lawnmower service. Does Google want all three of those, just one or two? Can they be intermingled? Sort of how would you kind of work with that?
Great question. So I think that question was in the context of the exact match. So when we're suggesting identifying, so basically what I'm suggesting, of course, make this all very data-led, but what I'm suggesting, let's bid on lawnmower services for 30 to 45 days. Then we're going to utilize the query stream to do a full query analysis. When we're doing that, we're looking at our conversions and our average cost per click, because the lower our cost per click, the more clicks we can fit in a day, the more conversions we can fit in a day. Domino effect. So use that 30 to 45 day data. You're going to identify those cheaper opportunities. If we're bidding on lawnmower services on exact, but I believe the example was like grass cutting services, correct me if I'm wrong. If that one is coming in at half the cost, yes, bid on that one instead of that root word that we started with, because you will see a lower cost per click, but you do not have to bid on both. I hope that added some clarity.
Awesome, thanks. Okay, so we also had a bunch of questions regarding ad copy. A couple of people were saying that it's really straightforward when you want to show value in your ad copy headlines when you have a product, but what advice do you guys have for businesses that are service-based, like a law firm or a bank? What can they sort of add to their ad copy to make it more compelling?
That's an awesome question. I think one great approach is to think about sort of what will your prospects' life look like after they've partnered with you with whatever service you're offering. So let's say you're a personal injury lawyer. So you're looking to work with people who have been wronged in some sort of way. They're looking for some sort of like financial justice. I'm going off the top of my head here, so I'm not going to, I don't know if this abides by character count limits or anything, but you could throw something in your ad about get justice or get justice, or get what you're owed, or get the reward that you're owed, or something like that. Think about take a step back. Ultimately, what is your prospect trying to achieve? Because they're not going to Google to thinking oh, I'm going to click on an ad. They're thinking I'm going to go to Google to find a solution to this problem. So think about big picture. What are you offering? Really get down to the core value of your business. If you're a personal injury lawyer, I'm not one, so maybe I'm wrong, but the core value is that you help people who have been wronged get justice in some sort of financial way. So, I mean, that's not the snappiest ad copy, but if you think hard about really what you're doing, what makes you valuable in your market, and then try to condense that down to 30 characters, you're going to be in great shape. But again, get your keyword in there because quality score is important.
Yeah, no, and that's why Conor gets paid the big bucks. He just wrote an ad for you guys in 5 seconds. Also, I've seen a lot of local companies talk about their experience in the market. So especially with lawyers, I don't want, Blojo who just graduated, college. I want someone who's been in the industry for 25 years and has closed 500 cases. Use the opportunity, especially in your description, not so much your headline, but in your description to really speak about your experience, because experience means volumes, especially in those very high traffic, high researched industries.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. So Lauren, before I ask you this question for you, I do want to say that lots of people are calling for dad jokes in the in the chat box right now.
You guys don't deserve them.
But so Lauren, you mentioned often that less is more. A lot of questions came in sort of talking about how exactly can the audience know where they can cut redundant keywords? How can they trim it down so that they have less?
Okay, here's the thing, guys. I want you to think about your keywords. We're going to go with the lawnmowers because I'm in a lawnmower mood. So lawn mowing services with the new close the variant rule, that could populate for so much. If you have lawn mowing service and lawn mowing services, those two words are going to compete. Eliminate one, base it on conversions, quality score, whatever you favor. It is so easy for you to trim down your keywords, I promise. Think about what's going to conflict. Just let's go back to the roots. Like think about the mechanics of each match type. Like modify broad, that could populate for anything as long as it includes the words that have the plus sign in front of them. Think about phrase, that can populate for anything that contains that same phrase but has something in front or behind. Think about all these different mechanics and how they play together. You will find that there is a lot in your account that is actually causing your own expenses to fluctuate. So think about that. I'm a large proponent on like starting fresh because that's just who I am as a person. So if you need to start a new campaign, base it on all the data that you have in your old campaign. There's probably, most likely, only 10 words that are actually bringing you valuable clicks and conversions. I guarantee it, and I haven't even seen your account. Use that data to start fresh with words that are going to drill into the heart of your business and what you want to get out of PPC.
Awesome. Thanks, Lauren. So a couple questions regarding audience layering. So one question that came in was saying, how do you guys deal with Google's audience hierarchy when people are in multiple audiences? This person used the example of if somebody is in the visitor's last 30 days and in market for sports shoes, typically they attribute the click to the audience with the highest bid. Do you recommend splitting these up into separate campaigns for this reason rather than layering the audiences?
Fantastic question. So did they specify Facebook or Google? Sorry. Google? Okay. Google always keep separate. You want to keep all your remarketing efforts. Actually, same goes for Facebook. You want to keep your remarketing efforts separate because they're going to be a different intent level. So if Conor has never been to my site, I'm probably willing just to pay a little bit more because I know that I haven't spent any other marketing dollars to get his business. Whereas if it's a remarketing audience, I've probably already spent a couple bucks on Facebook or Bing or somewhere else trying to get my brand awareness up. So I probably want to spend just a tiny bit less, but I also want that ad copy to be more tailored to a previous site visitor. So maybe throw in a promotion extension or different ad copy. So whenever you're doing audiences like that, I would 100% keep them separate. One for the basis of your ad copy, and then two, just to make sure that you're crediting your conversions correctly as well. We want to see very clearly, is it those soccer jocks that are bringing in the conversions, or is it those previous site visitors that are bringing in those conversions?
And I will just say to your point, Lauren, about you mentioned copy real quick, and just to bring home with the point that I was mentioning earlier about creating value, if you keep all of your audiences nice and neat and separate for your Google search campaigns, that way you know exactly who is seeing your ad, and when you know exactly who is seeing your ad, you can write very, very, very effective ad copy. Especially if you're in one of those verticals I was mentioning earlier, a law firm or a bank. If you know that it's just one type of person seeing your ad, getting to the root of your business and then making it resonate with that specific person, it becomes so much easier. So in terms of keeping your conversion data in shape and writing the best ad copy possible, it's a no-brainer.
Thanks, guys. Okay, so I think we have time for about one more question. So does a geography-specific campaign, one with location-specific keywords, cannibalize on other search campaigns that run in a specific geographical area? In other words, is one campaign bidding up on the other?
Yes, it does. So here's the thing. Whenever you're doing locationally specific keywords, I want you to create one campaign that is strictly generic. Strictly generic. You heard that right. Your other campaigns, let's say we're targeting Orlando in one, let's say we're targeting Tallahassee in the other, but the keywords are targeting those cities, but the location targeting is all the same. What you are going to do is, so let me draw this out again. You have a general campaign, you have a Tallahassee, you have an Orlando, they're all targeting all of Florida though. So there's crossover. You need to add the word Orlando as a negative to general and Tallahassee. You need to add the word Tallahassee as a negative to general and Orlando. Make sure that there is no cross-pollination. It's super valuable to do locationally specific keywords. Well, it is and it isn't. There's a huge study this year actually by Google about how locational keywords are losing less of their gusto and more people are searching for near me, nearby. People aren't very often because they think that like Google's smart enough to know exactly where I am right now. So test that out. If you don't find success, I would recommend maybe testing out with a more near me, nearby approach. But the way to prevent kind of any sort of cross-pollination is just using those extremely strategic negatives.
I would also add, just as this isn't super important, but a cool caveat is that by some, whatever it is, 300, 400% near me searches have gone up since 2015 or 2016. And one cool tactic to try out is some kind of mobile bid adjustment on queries like that, because people will often search for nearby solutions when they are on their phone, literally walking around or in an Uber or whatever. So if you're doing a lot of those locational searches with near me, nearby, try bidding a little bit more on mobile just to see what that gets you, because those can often be more valuable clicks.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. That was all great. We still have questions coming through, but I think this is a great place to stop. If you submitted a question and it wasn't answered, we will be sending those questions off to our experts here who will be getting back to you. Again, don't forget to sign up right now to chat with an expert about your account. And also remember that we will be emailing a recording of this webinar if you want to go back and look at any of the information and hear all the advice again. We hope to see you again during October's webinar.